Okay, well, we're going to see if we can get all the way through the rest of the view menu here. Most of the rest of these things are pretty simplistic and are kind of just, either on or off. There's a few in here that bear a little bit more attention to, but overall, it's pretty straightforward. And we're probably going to get into some of them, especially like the plugin chainer and the plugin manager, a little bit later on when we get more into the specific plugins and how they work. And then, we'll go back here and show how you can actually chain multiple ones together and do some pretty cool stuff with them. So let's dive in. All right, next under the view menu, we've got video preview. And that's really good if you've got a video file open. I do happen to have one open here. Here's some green screen stuff that I shot a while back. And you can see that it kind of goes through and kind of plays successively there as the audio plays. I also have the capability of going here to the video preview, and it brings up a preview down here at the bottom. Now, the other cool thing about this is so that I can actually watch the video play as I'm looking at the waveform up here. If I had an external monitor hooked up to my computer, an NTSC monitor or another LCD monitor via FireWire or another external video card, I could actually view the video that way as well too. If I click on this right now, it gives me information on where my external monitor could be hooked up to, and also gives me some information about how I want to view it, whether I want to deinterlace it and blend the fields or interpolate. Also for pull down and stuff like that. Stuff that really makes a difference if you're working with video a lot, but if you're not, then it's not going to be very meaningful to you. So that's what that menu is. Next up is the time display, and it's literally what it says it is. It is a time display. So if I'm looking at, for example, this file here, and I hit the play button,
or some other kinds of tracks,
or it'll just give me a display
showing how you can take voiceovers.
It'll just give me a display of the current time and where my cursor is located, and it's nice. It's nice especially if you're recording stuff and you're working with other people, you're doing some VO, you want to cue somebody, you're looking at a time thing. If you've got either a big display, at a high resolution, or if you're running multiple displays, it's nice to be able to have this open somewhere on the screen so that you can kind of see where things are at and keep track of the time. Next up is the play meters over here on the side, so you can see the
voiceovers or some other kinds of tracks,
see how
and mix them together with another track using the paste special command.
There is just some latency there in terms of the peaking and stuff like that. So you can kind of see where things are at, and kind of keep track of where things are at from a meter standpoint.
Or some other kind.
So that's nice to have the meters. I usually leave the meters up on the screen. I usually don't take them down. I leave them up. Got a redo, undo history. So if, for example, if I take, let's do something here, and let's apply just some, some quick effect to it. Let's just do a fuzz thing, just something really bizarre. And then if I come back in here and I can go to my undo, redo history, it now shows me the stuff that I've got in here, and
mix them together with another track.
See what I did, and I can undo if I want to, and then it also gives me the capability of redoing it. So it just gives me, the redo undo history for the file that I'm working on. It can be very helpful, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff to something and you get really deep into it and you want to back out and figure out, well, where was I? How did I do this? How did I get here? It's a good way of knowing that. Spectrum analysis brings up a spectrum analysis window so that if I'm back here and playing
mix
my
them
file,
together with another track, mix them together
I can
with
actually
another
go
track
ahead and do a spectrum analysis of the file that I've currently got open, and it allows me to get some really accurate information. Really gives me a lot of information in terms of slices, and you can do different kinds of spectral analysis depending on what kind of info you want, how you want to see it. And, it can be really useful if you have to do some really critical audio analysis of a file. It's just something that I can do a real-time monitoring thing.
Mix them together with another track.
So you can actually see
together with another track. Mix them together
this
with
sample.
another track. Mix them together with 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 another track.
The level of it. And there's a lot of flexibility here with what you can do with the spectrum analysis. It also lets you pick snapshots. So if you need to compare it, or you compare a section of a file to another file or whatever, it allows you to save up to 4 snapshots. You can also clear the snapshots out. You can even print them out, actually. It's a really cool tool. It gives you a choice here in terms of the sample granularity, so you can choose, if you want to see a lot of detail, or if you want to just, get a more of a coarse view so that you can kind of make some generalized analysis of the file. Really powerful tool. Really cool that they've got it built into SoundForge. Next up is the plugin chainer. Again, like I say, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. Right now it's an empty chain, and if we go to the next menu item, which is the plugin manager, you can see we've got a whole bunch of plugins. It's very much like the Explorer, where you, only in this case, where you can literally have all of your plugins, and by all the various manufacturers, you can view just, certain ones, or third-party ones, or whatever you want to have, or all of them, or just the Sony ones. And you're able to then, now, it makes a little bit more sense when you've got these here, and you can take them and drag them into the plugin chainer. And again, we'll get more into detail, and we'll talk more specifics about the plugin chainer when we start talking about the plugins. But real quickly, you can see that you can just take a plugin, like in this case, I've got the time stretch. And I can, choose some of the presets that it comes with to compress it or to expand it, or, put in my own percentage or tempo or time-based changes that I want to. But the plugin chainer really is ideal for chaining multiple plugins together. So if I wanted to take, say, a distortion, I can drag it in here. And now I've got multiple plugins, and I can view each one, set up the parameters I want in each one, and then literally run the whole thing and process everything I've got going up here. I can bypass them if I want to test how things are going to look. I can preview it. I can save the whole chain preset. So if I find a series of plugins that I've chained together that I like to use a lot for doing a specific type of thing with a specific type of file, it gives me a lot of flexibility there. And like I say, we'll take a look at more of that later on in more detail when we talk about the plugins. Next up is the keyboard. Basically, it's a MIDI keyboard, and it's an on-screen keyboard, so that if you want to play MIDI notes, or if you have a MIDI device, which I don't have hooked up to this system right now, you're able to then preview some of the MIDI voices, and obviously go through and choose a lot of the MIDI voices that you basically have built into as a default into Windows. And you're able to then adjust those. You're able to set the notes, just all the basic MIDI stuff. You're able to actually come in here and determine, is it the Microsoft MIDI Mapper, USB audio device, Wavetable synth if you have an external synth or something like that hooked up. Next up is the script editor. Scripts are really powerful. It's a really cool thing. I'm not going to, I can show you there's some sample ones that come with a SoundForge, and we'll get more into these when we talk about scripts real specifically. But basically, for example, let's pick one here and just take a look at it. It's basically, scripting is a programming language. And I mean, it comes with some really cool scripts that you can very easily modify, and we'll actually look at a couple of them, and I'll actually show you how you can actually modify them to do some stuff for you that you may want to do on a regular basis a little bit later on. But if you really want to get into it and write scripts from scratch, you've pretty much got to be a programmer, propeller head type of guy. And you've got to be able to understand a scripting language such as Java, or one of the C languages, or .NET or something along those lines. Because if you can program in those kinds of languages and you understand that, then you're going to be able to actually go through and make sense of this, to be able to actually write your own custom scripts to do things within SoundForge. Very powerful tool, but again, for the more advanced user and for somebody who, either is really a propeller head or, you want to maybe get some scripts off the internet or something like that. Last thing here is the loop tuner. And we'll get into talking about making loops in the next menu under the special menu. But real quickly, I'll just show you what it looks like. If I take a selection here of my VO sample thing, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to jump a menu ahead, do edit sample, I'm going to make it into a sample and say OK. Then I come back here and hit loop tuner. It opens up then below the file and allows me to then work on fine-tuning the loop so that I can make it a real seamless loop so that I can incorporate it into Acid or any other kind of software that uses loop-based for music making and other purposes like that. So it's a powerful tool for creating loops. But again, when we get to actually showing how to make a loop, we'll get more into it and we'll look at it then. Just wanted to show you where it is for now.